Altfunds Global presents From Carbon Credits to Cash, the secret loop turning paper into profits.
All of the information presented is for entertainment and information purposes only. Nothing discussed constitutes legal or accounting advice, an offer or solicitation of financial services, or financial advice of any kind. Our goal is to showcase alternative vehicles to raise capital. At no point will we be soliciting any investment programs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great and very informative session here with Taimour, Zaman. It is all about going from carbon credits to cash. It is the secret loop that is going to turn paper into profits. And how do we do that exactly? Well, let's get started. So did you, our beautiful viewers, know that some companies generate millions in liquidity without taking on debt, just by looping carbon credits through smart financial structures? How do they do this? Taimour, take it away and tell us.
Thanks, Annie. So first of all, carbon credits. I'm sure you've seen a lot of green initiatives around the world. If you follow U.S. politics, I would say Bernie Sanders is a very big proponent of, environmental green and like that. So carbon credit is when the government gives you, I'll use some simple words if I may, a credit because of what you did help save the environment. So let me give you an example. This is a true example. So a company goes in Kenya and puts 12,000 trees. Or I think it was like 18,000 trees. And they call the regulator because carbon credits are often given by a government body, a government agency. The EU has it, China has it, like various government agencies have like a regulator. Regulator comes and audits your project and says, yes, based on this project, you have saved, let's say, 500 million tons of CO2 emissions. I'm just using that as an example. Right. Based on that 500,000 tons of, or 500 million tons of emissions you've saved, we're going to give you $12 million in carbon credits. So now the company in Kenya that planted those like 18,000 trees, now they get $12,000 in government credits, in credits that they can use. So I'll give you some examples in some of my clients, but there's like hundreds of millions of examples and case studies out there. So I have a mid-sized company, green, like an environmental company in the US. And what they did was they said, okay, here's an organization that can get carbon credits. How about we go help structure that for them? And the cost of structuring it and getting all the lawyers on, taxes on, like whatever else was $2 million. We have some structured financing specialists in our team. So that's how I know the cost was $2 million. Before they went to spend it, they went and they got somebody who agreed to buy the carbon credits for $12 million.
Amazing.
Once they had that there, they put in the $2 million to help the supplier get the so-called the $12 million carbon credits. Cost them $2 million all in, without disclosing of details, and they sold it for $12 million. So they got a profit of $10 million.
Wow.
I'll give you a dumb example. Once I give you the dumb example, everything else I think makes a little bit more sense. Imagine you have you're in Paris, France, right? So I imagine there's like a vintage old, French bottle of wine. And the seller is willing to sell it for $5,000. And you find somebody who's a wine collector. And for that exact model, they're willing to pay $20,000. So what you do is you set up an arbitrage and you tell the seller that yes, upon you delivering this wine to this location, you'll get your, like within an hour, you will get your $5,000. And then you get it also with the buyer to say upon delivery, you're paying this account $12,000. Like that's called arbitrage. And so the seller delivers the wine the buyer then wires you the, let's say, the $12,000 or $15,000, and then you pay the seller the amount that you owe. So that's just a very simple way of doing buy and sell. All I'm saying that happens in carbon credits. Now, at this moment in time, in 2025, carbon credits is not a securities. What that means is that people like you and I can go and make millions and millions of dollars using carbon credits by finding out who has carbon credits, how much they want to sell for, and finding a buyer who's going to pay a premium for that and making a spread out of it. This happens in financial, I'm in the financial service industry, so I can tell you this happens in banking instruments. It happens just in all different things that happens. Carbon credits is something that's massively growing. Think about all the countries around the world that regardless of politics or whatever else, they have their own green initiatives. So a lot of companies that are, in the forestry business, in the mine business, whatever else, they are working on, becoming more green friendly. They're developing their technology, developing their product services in a more environmentally friendly way. And that's what enables a project to get what's called carbon credit. And it's a phenomenal way to generate liquidity for a lot of businesses that are looking for liquidity.
Wow. What's really amazing about this is that hopefully we all want to do good to begin with, but the people hopefully, but it's so beautiful that we could truly from our hearts want to make a difference, and that making a difference could actually end up profiting us in the end, bottom line.
Right.
Which is why we all as businesses want to start asking ourselves, how can I start creating an environmental movement within my company and gain these carbon credits?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you were telling me that it is possible to turn government-backed carbon credits,
Right.
carbon credits, into real cash flow. And it doesn't require you to be an ESG fund or even hold credits yourself.
Correct.
Tell us more about that.
Right. So your consulting company, as example, remember at this moment in time, it's not the securities. So it's like at this moment in time, anybody can play the carbon credit game, if I can say that way.
Yeah.
You have friends in, let's say, South America, Latin America, or you may have friends in Africa or things like that. These are countries that produce a lot of what I would call carbon credits.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, they may need liquidity. They may not need liquidity. There's so many ways of leveraging it. But end of the day, it's a government. The government is giving you the credit or giving that corporation the credit. If it's backed by cash and it's transferable, now it's valuable. We have clients in Texas, as an example, that have carbon credits. It's backed by cash. It's transferable. But the guy who's issuing the credit is the government of Texas.
Yeah.
It's not Joe Blow, nobody knows who Joe Blow is. It's a legitimate organization, government of Texas. I don't think government of Texas is going to go bankrupt anytime soon. Right? So when you get a carbon credit, or a corporation gets a carbon credit from the government of Texas, it's backed by cash and it's transferable, that's value. Now, there's so many things you can do with it. I know companies in Panama, just because I go to Panama so many times, that will leverage the carbon credit as collateral. So they have, let's say, $20 million in government credits that they'll structure, and they'll say, this is a government credit. They'll go to a bank and they'll say, this collateral, how much loan can you get? And they'll get a loan for $8 million. But the collateral is not their firstborn, their lastborn, their personal security, something else. A government credit that they're leveraging as collateral together. So you can use it because it's a real asset, it's a legitimate asset. You can use it to go get a loan from it. You can buy from somebody and sell to somebody else and get a spread on it. You can also, in many cases, if you know how to structure it, you can take what's called ownership for a period of time. So Cindy, you have, let's say, a house, and you're going to be traveling to, Canada to visit your family. Can you assign the ownership of that house for the month, for the year that you're traveling to me? And if you can assign it, I can now go on my asset book and say, I now have an asset in my balance sheet. I can say, I now have an asset. Now, mind you, so for a period of time, that I can now leverage it to enhance the balance sheet of my company. So there's so many different things you can do with carbon credits that I would say a lot of people don't know or don't know about. Most investors that I know of are watching the news like Bloomberg or something else on what's happening on stock prices or markets or tariffs or whatever the thing that they're watching in. I think that this is a phenomenal, like the next gold rush opportunity could be for a lot of people what I call carbon credits.
It seems like it's actually bypassing the other things that are more risky. Am I right in saying that, or am I a little bit off?
I would think that in financial services, there's always some amount of risk that you have to take, but depending on how you can structure it, like I'm in the risk management business, depending on how you structure it, you can avoid that risk. In the example I gave you, you have the wine example.
Yeah.
Right? The buyer will say, I want some kind of guarantee, warranty, whatever else. You can write a contract to say, yep, you will have this guarantee from my supplier. And the contract with the supplier would be any risk that I have because of you delivering the quality of wine, I'm passing on to you. Like something like that. You indemnify me from the risk. So the ways to structure is that you remove as much risk as there is for you in the marketplace on that.
My mind is a little bit blown of all the different possibilities. And this is why you were the expert, of course. So another question for you is, why are private banks and sovereign funds buying into this carbon credit game while most of the accredited investors are still on the sidelines?
So carbon credits, end of the day, is issued by a government agency. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you can find fraudulent ones in the marketplace, but if you take the fraudulent ones out of the marketplace, end of the day, they're issued by government agencies. So if I tell you the government of Texas as an example, or government of Ontario, whatever government is issuing carbon credits that are cash, that's backed by cash, and they're transferable, well, how wrong could you go with that? Are you investing in John Smith, a no-name guy, or you're buying something from a legitimate government? So a lot of these sovereign funds are looking for a way to make money out of the money that they have. So a little bit, some people may not know what sovereign funds are or sovereign banks are. I'll just say a little bit about it, if I may. So government of Kuwait, as an example, or UAE, as an example, a lot of their money is coming from oil. They all know in the next 150 years that oil money will disappear. Okay. So a lot of these governments will set up something called a sovereign bank. They'll put some money in it called sovereign funds. And the intention of that bank is to make investments into various things, including carbon credits, so that they can make money for who? For the government. So that's what these things are. So these guys, these sovereign banks or these government agencies have billions, if not trillions of dollars to invest. So when the government of China, which is a bad example in my world, but let's say the government of Texas, right, issues carbon credits, they want to be quick at leveraging that to cash that out and benefit from it. A lot of accredited investors that I know of are driven by what's in the media, not based on what's on the relationship, what type of relationships they have with things like that. They're watching Bloomberg all day long. What does Bloomberg say, or what does CNN say, or what does whoever else say, for me to know what is I'm buying, selling, or whatever else I'm doing. And being on that trajectory is fine. Some human beings don't only want to be on that trajectory. They want to be in other trajectories in the world. And so I think that's when you will discover why a lot of these big institutions, sovereign banks, and so on are buying these carbon credits for financial wealth creation.
That's incredible. And so if a company wanted to work with you to be able to buy carbon credits, is that something that you do?
I wouldn't say I'm not a source of carbon people to buy carbon credits. I would be a source of somebody who has the carbon credit. As long as it's cash back and transferable, and hopefully it's issued by a government agency, not John Smith, then I can be a phenomenal resource to leverage it to go get you a loan, get you a line of credit, get you cash, and help you with something called structured financing that I can do all in no problem.
Okay, that's good. I wanted to understand what the differentiation was and where your role plays in this. So that's beautiful. Is there anything else that the viewers need to know on everything to do with carbon credits and the advantages and next steps?
So if somebody has carbon credits that's verifiable, like not John, my uncle, has carbon credits, they just have something that's verifiable, they can definitely go check out, book a consultation, call our website, altfundsglobal.com. They'll say, we have some carbon credits, here's the information, here's how to have. It's backed by cash. It has to be backed by cash. It has to be transferable. If it's not transferable, I don't know anybody who can leverage it because it's not transferable. So that'll be the first thing to do. Second thing to do is that if you don't have all those components, then you need some money. You need to pay a structured financing guy some money to structure it so that that asset you have is transferable or cash back with something else, so you can leverage it to create liquidity.
Brilliant. Once again, blowing our minds with all these really interesting ways for us to grow our wealth, grow our companies to the next level, and be able to leverage them into more. I love this, Taimour. Thank you so much for sharing all about carbon credits.
Love you, man. Thank you.
Hi friends, I now want to take a minute and answer some of your frequently asked questions. One of the common questions I get a lot is, Taimour, we've learned a lot from you through your YouTube channel. How do we learn more? Can we fly down and meet your team? And the answer to all of that is yes, yes, and yes. But if you want to learn more, my first invitation is to become a member of Altfunds Global. You simply go to our website, altfundsglobal.com. You sign up to become a member for free. You get access to webinars, offshore events that we do, and content that we never, ever, ever, ever publish on YouTube. I promise you that it's worth becoming a member for sure. The second way that you can learn a lot is I'm a published author. Structured Financing, Demystified, Hypergrowth, just multiple books on Amazon that you can get access to. I highly recommend going and checking out some of these books, getting engaged into some of the stuff, that strategies and tactics that we're using for ourselves, for our families, for our friends. You definitely want to check these things out for sure. Another question, I guess, Taimour, why are you so passionate about getting a bank license? Why is that so important? Well, the truth is, our mission within Altfunds Global is to help businesses become self-funded for life. Imagine you run a coffee shop and I run a coffee shop. Imagine we buy the coffee beans from the same grower and my coffee shop is right across yours, like really right across yours. Our competition is probably nil. But if you have a bank license and I don't have a bank license, and let's say I made $500,000 and you made $500,000 in income, but if you have a bank license, you are depositing a bank license with a central bank of the country where you own your own private bank license. Let me repeat this again. You are depositing your money with the central bank of the country you have your bank license on. So $500,000 deposited with the central bank should give you a line of credit of 10 times multiple. So that means you get a line of credit of $5 million. Now it's not free money, it's a line of credit of $5 million. Now, if you draw that entire money out and you go to whichever country you're currently resonating in, the country you're doing business with, and in real estate, you want to buy a house, you put 20% down and you get a loan for 80%, same thing. You put $5 million down with a business plan to your local bank, whoever your bank with, and say, hey, I want to grow my business, my technology business, real estate business, pharmaceutical business, whatever business it is. I'm a venture capitalist. I'm putting $5 million down. Your bank gives you a loan at four times more, so now you get a $20 million loan. Now it's not free money, it's $20 million loan. What can you afford to do with $20 million that I cannot afford to do with $500,000? Could you invest in artificial intelligence? Could you invest in hiring better people? Could you invest in advertising? Hell, with that amount of money, could you even buy auxiliary businesses or invest in auxiliary businesses? I say you can, and that's why we within Altfunds Global are so passionate in helping clients become self-funded for life. And getting a private bank license is one of the vehicles that I am personally very passionate about helping clients on. Another question, I guess, Taimour, you charge a consultation fee. Altfunds Global, the team charges a consultation fee. Why do you charge a consultation fee when you guys can make so much money on the back end? It somehow slows me down from taking a credit card and paying you money for it. Well, here's the truth. We offer our content, millions and millions of dollars worth of content complete for free on YouTube. We don't advertise as of the date of doing this video. We don't advertise on YouTube, Google, or we don't do any kind of advertising at all. And what we find is the volume of traffic that goes into YouTube attracts people that are tire kickers, people that are fraudsters, people that have mental health issues. When we charge a small consultation fee, this deters the hacker, the fraudster, the person who's shopping around, the tire kicker. It eliminates all that and allows me and my team to be on calls or meetings with customers we actually want to do business with. What a concept. Now comes, this is better. At the time of doing a transaction with a client, that fee they pay for a consultation call, we refund it. At the conclusion of us doing a transaction with a client, we refund 100% of all the monies that they paid on consultation fees. This allows us to work with people that are committed to working with us, are serious about working with us, are not tire kickers, are not people that are like, they don't know what banking 101 is, and they're there to waste our time and energy. Just eliminates that. And me and my team are very proud of doing that. Next question, I guess, Taimour, the alternative funding industry overall has a lot of fraudsters in it, has a lot of deep fake in it. What are you doing to protect us, protect yourself? So here's the answer to that. Any industry that has a lot of money by default attracts a lot of fraud. Let me say this again. Any industry that attracts a lot of money by default attracts a lot of fraud. I don't know who you bank with. If you bank with one of the top 20 banks in the world, pick a bank you bank with, or you use payment processing companies like PayPal, these companies see a lot of fraud every day, from fraudsters mimicking their website to mimicking their email addresses, and in cases like mine, once a year or twice a year, some idiot, excuse my language, decides to copy my picture on social media, tries to create a fake profile of me, and goes on social media selling scammy transactions. Now, we have the technology and the resources to catch that, usually within 72 hours of that happening, and then cause legal action against that fraudster. We have the financial resources, thank God, to do that today, but that's just the nature of this industry. So what we do to protect ourselves is we never solicit on social media anything, nor do we solicit in general. We offer a lot of educational materials, but we don't solicit. You'll never see me or any of my associates on any social media trying to sell anything, ever. Second, all transactions that we do, money always has to go through a reputable law firm. All transactions we do, money always has to go to a reputable law firm. We never ask the client to send us money or anything like that. Now, I do want to take a minute and talk a little bit about my competitors. In the United States, in the US alone, US has 3% of the world's population, and they have over 60% of the world's lawyers. In the United States, that's a fact, have 3% of the world's population and over 60% of the world's lawyers. I have a lot of legitimate competitors in the United States and around the world that unfortunately have been sued for wrongful things that other people have done. There's a lot of negative stuff on social media or websites about some of my legitimate competitors. And I want to tell you that a lot of my competitors are legitimate. They're hardworking people. I know them. They deliver real results. And unfortunately, they have negative comments or fraud or even lawsuits against them. The reason within Altfunds Global doesn't have a lawsuit against it, or me, Taimour Zaman, don't have a lawsuit against me, or people on social media saying that we're fraudsters or something like that, is simply because of my lack of vision. Every company you deal with, every major company you deal with, whether it's the cars you drive, Ford, Lexus, I don't know, GM, or Facebook, Google, YouTube, whatever you use, or medicine you have, like Taimour, all of these companies have lawsuits against them. A lot of the companies you work with have litigations against them as just part of the growth. At some point, the business needs to grow exponentially, and that's when you have to see lawsuits as just the nature of the business growing. The fact that we don't have it is because of my lack of vision as the CEO and like trying to bark a tree like that. Now, I see that changing as we buy businesses that have other CEOs, as we grow. We have over 800 registered brokers with us. As that number grows, it's not normal for our business to continue growing without some idiot calling us fraudster, some idiot trying to sue us, or something like that. If you want to take advantage of the alternative funding industry, I'm going to tell you this is an industry I love. I'm going to tell you this is an industry that I've made a lot of money with. I'm going to tell you this is an industry I've helped a lot of clients make a lot of money with, friends and family make a lot of money with. And if this is an industry you want to get involved in, I recommend meeting the people you want to do business with, like physically flying out to meeting them. If you can afford to hire an investigator, we use a lot of former FBI, former CIA people. These are people you can hire to do background checks. It's not only do these people have lawsuits or not, or other losers calling them fraudsters or not. I'm telling you, a lot of my competitors are really good people, and they're not fraudsters. So do your own due diligence. Listen to your intuition. We're really interested in working with some really good people that are vision-driven entrepreneurs that really want to serve the world. And I think we have some things that are really amazing to offer. Another question I get is, Taimour, we love all the services of Altfunds Global. What are the top 3 services you offer that we should really seriously think about, call you or your organization and get you guys involved? But my favorite service, the one that makes a lot of sense, is the trusted advisory service. This is when we become your chief banking officer. We work with your CFO, your legal team, the CEO, the COO. We look at where your organization is, where you want it to be. We look at banking programs that make sense for your type of business, that are proven and would work to generate access to alternative revenue sources for your business that makes sense. From that, we then create offshore tax structures, offshore bank accounts, offshore bank licenses for your organization, so the revenue that gets generated has a channel to go to that is well protected. We have a lot of domain expertise that I do not share ever on YouTube. It's not like a lawyer who's like, go create a trust account and cooks out it. We don't do. We do some very sophisticated stuff that I'm very proud of. That's our intellectual property. And so the trusted advisory services, where we become a trusted advisor, is one of the things that I would recommend everybody to look at. It's a monthly retainer, you pay for it, but let me tell you, for every penny you put in to that, you get tens of dollars out of it. And I think you're not going to get this amount of expertise dedicated to your business. So that's something I would recommend you to think about and sign up for. Second one is, if you're looking for access to capital, we have a lot of unique programs like Rent a Rich Uncle that we can support your organization, as long as your organization is a successful business and not a startup, not somebody who's going bankrupt. It's a successful business that has real cash, real assets, and is generating something real, that's real growth. I think we have some avenues for accessing capital that others simply cannot offer. And the final one that I love is we have a lot of asset management structures that are very unique to our intellectual property that I love to share with you. If you have assets, you want to grow, you want to get bank license, you want to set up a trust, you want to work with multiple central banks, do some really cool stuff. I think I'm the only weirdest person that has real expertise and experience in doing this stuff. And so my name is Taimour Zaman from Altfunds Global. Thank you for following us up on YouTube. If you're doing that, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting my team. And on behalf of my team, I just really want to say thank you. And we look forward to the opportunity of serving you.